It's the Premium Pete
Internet,
Show.
welcome back to another episode of the Premium Pete Show. Sitting here with my guy, my friend, okay? Fellow Brooklynite, artist, journalist, creative, father. I mean, is there any other things that we could call you?
I don't know. You said artist first, so I'm already fucking with you right off the bat.
I mean,
Pete.
I could have said journalist, but
Nah,
there ain't much money in that, man.
first. Yeah, you know.
Well, actually, there is.
No. We cracked the bank.
We'll get into it. My friend Rob Markman's here.
Yo, what's up, man? Premium Pete, man. My man Pete. Thank you for this, man. I'm glad to be here.
Man, listen, it's great to have you. Last time we had you was on the Father's Day episode.
Yeah.
And it was important for me to have you because, and we'll get into this, but you're a father of two boys, very, very well connected to them and very well understanding. Like, I like how you bring them to concerts.
Yeah.
I like how you speak about, like, I think maybe you spoke about just like when getting them into hip hop, when maybe playing like curse songs. I know you've been involved in some of those conversations, maybe on social. And we spoke about it a lot, just really like introducing to them and being better than, and this is no disrespect to our fathers, but being better than our fathers were.
Absolutely.
And giving them more. And you know, first things first, that's one of the most things that, I mean, there's a lot of things I respect about you, but just the father you are, it's not, as a fellow father, I know it's not easy to follow your dreams when you have a family.
Right. Yeah, absolutely. There was a lot of things that I had to let go. You know, most people know me as a journalist first. I always wanted to be an artist. And the thing that kind of made me stop is because I had to choose. I had a job at XXL. And, you know, the word around town was that, you know, they put me on the chopping block because they saw that I had a record on Two Dope Boys. So
This is early on. This is many years ago.
This is early on when I first started as a journalist and I ain't have the chops. And, you know, it was a different time then. You know, a lot of people saw it, being a journalist and an artist, as a conflict of interest, you know. But for me, it wasn't a conflict of interest because my interest was hip-hop. My love was hip-hop, and it all fell in line. You know, I wasn't using one to get to the other. But, you know, that's how it was, and I had to choose. So I fell back, and I still did music, but I did it in my basement. I did it. I didn't put it out. It wasn't on Two Dope Boys anymore. It wasn't on there, right? Because, you know, I had mouths to feed, man. I couldn't give up my job, the thing that paid the bills, that, you know, put clothes on my kids' back for a dream.
You know, I remember when you went on combat, and rest in peace to our brother.
Yeah, man.
You know, you spoke about that at that time when you were working at XXL, and you weren't making much money.
Right, no.
But it was something you really loved.
No.
You spoke about that. I remember you saying that you had to refinance your house just to, you know, just while you were there, just to stay afloat at XXL. What was the passion? Like, what made you not? Because most people could have, like, look, let's be honest. At that time, journalism and working there, it didn't pay a lot of money for you at that time, right?
No.
So you could have, like, you know, your wife or her father or somebody or your uncle could have been like, yo, I think you should get into you know, become an electrician. I think you should go to Con Edison. I think you should become you know what I mean? What made you, like, stick with it? Because, like, you stuck and you're still here. Think about that.
I just believed in myself. First of all, like, hip hop is just my passion. You know, I always just wanted to positively impact the culture, whether it's through journalism, whether it's through music, whether it's just using whatever connections I have to help somebody with talent get ahead. Like, you know, hip hop gave me everything. It was the thing I identified most with coming up in Brooklyn. Like, it was the thing that I loved the most. So I always wanted to be connected to it. So, you know, before I started working for Harris Publications, which owns XXL, I was working in the mailroom. I actually made more money in the mailroom than I did at XXL and in the beginning. And, you know, I took the job. I left the mailroom because there was no future in that for me. There was no passion. There was no love. I was able to buy a house in Staten Island with my wife while working in the mailroom before getting my first full-time job in the music industry. And then when I got to the music industry, we had to refinance. I thought, you know, I might lose the crib or something like that. So it was stressful. And, you know, at the time, look, you know, coming from where I didn't really have anybody like, yo, why don't you get into a better industry? Because nobody knew my financial troubles. I didn't go to my father and tell him what was going on. I didn't go to her father. We just kind of dealt with it. But, you know, coming up from where we come up, you got people in the street who deal. So I definitely stayed up nights debating, like, man, it would just be easier.
Sure. To hustle
And do something else. I wouldn't have these issues. But that's not me. That was like a moment of weakness and really trying to figure it out. But, I had a conversation with somebody very close to me at that time. Like, well, listen, if this is what you want to do, I could set you up and you'll be good at it. Because you just, you know what I'm saying? Like, it wasn't me. I couldn't do it. And I couldn't risk it.
Sure.
One, it's not in me. And then, again, I got kids. So, the consequences of that. I might have got knocked the first day. You know what I'm saying?
Believe it or not, man, it happens, man. I've said it, I've seen it, I've did it.
Yeah.
It's funny because I feel like some of us will say, like, yo, we got to do whatever we can to provide for our family. But meanwhile, when you're out there hustling like that, you are risking not being around really for your family,
which is a greater risk.
Yeah.
And that again, I don't think, and I'm not saying that is, I don't think that's me.
Yeah.
Like, that's not in the cards for me. That's not my DNA. That's not my destiny. It was an option, I guess, but that's not me. And it was too great of a risk. So I said, listen, I'd rather stick it out and figure this thing out. And even if I lose a house and we go down to a smaller apartment or whatever, we're going to work this thing out. Like, even if I fall, I'm not going to let my kids fall.
Sure.
I'm not going to let my fan fall. And, thank God it worked out. I stuck with it. And it worked. Yeah. It worked out for me in a big way.
And we're still here today, Rob.
Yeah, man.
One thing, it's funny because people listening, some people may know of you, some people may not. Some people may know of you as a journalist, like we spoke, and not an artist. So it's funny that we're starting off with artist talk. Yeah. But I will say this. You're an artist. You've always been an artist, but you revealed that you're an artist now,
Right.
Maybe like what, 6 months ago?
Nah, last summer, so last July.
Okay, so we're on 1 year.
Just going on 1 year.
But the thing is that when you got caught years ago, supposedly, double dipping in Double XL,
right.
where they felt that you were being an artist and a journalist,
right?
You shelved your passion.
Yeah.
It's funny. Right to Dream is LP, or is it?
Yep. The EP. I don't know was the EP anymore. Was the LP? But Right to Dream was the first project. Yeah.
But you think about it, like your dream. You put your dreams on the side, on hold, on the shelf, for your family.
Right.
Just to be a stand-up guy. Things that we're supposed to do.
Right.
But at the same time, that's why I say it's not easy following your dreams sometimes when you have a family, because you have to make sure that they come first, as rightfully so.
Yeah, yeah.
But I feel like that's so special that you shelved your dreams, 12 years ago?
Maybe, something like that. I lost count. But yeah, it sounds about right.
And here we are today, amongst many other things, not just an artist. You're not just an artist. Right. Internet, don't put people in one fucking box. Right. I hate when Rob's not just somebody who works at Genius. Rob's not somebody who just worked at MTV. He's not just an artist. Like, he's also a father. Right. He knows how to fish. You ever go fishing?
I never go fishing. I want to learn, though. I just came back. I was in Wyoming. For the Kanye thing.
Okay. I see you got the Illuminati.
Definitely
invite.
The Illuminati card came through, and it was so beautiful. I said, man, I want to go back and just fish and hike and get more in touch with nature. So I don't know how to fish, but I want to learn to fish. Sway, my big brother Sway, is excellent at fishing, so maybe he'll teach me this summer.
Yeah, rest in peace, Sean Price. He always told me, man, he was like, yo, I always dibbled and dabbled with fishing, but one thing that we spoke about was how peaceful it was. Mm-hmm. And I think in life, in anything you do, whether that's hip-hop or you're a fucking car dealer, I think that, finding peace is priceless.
Yeah, absolutely.
Just taking a moment to even reflect, where we are today. But, we think about, like, your journey and your career, and it's obviously, it still has so much more, legs to go.
Right.
Journalist, you're working in the mailroom, you move over to Double XL, and like we said, the money wasn't, extraordinary for you. Even back then, did you have like inspirations? Like, who was you as a journalist? Like, who inspired you?
I looked up at, when it came to journalism, because I never even thought I was going to be a journalist. I didn't think that it was a career that you could have on the hip hop side. I knew you could be a journalist as a career, but I also knew the New York Times wasn't going to hire me.
Sure.
So I didn't think.
Hey, you never know.
Right.
Not maybe now, but yeah, go ahead.
And but journalist-wise, the interviewer, the people that I always looked up to, I always looked up to Sway.
Of course. One of the best in the game.
Yeah.
One of the best. Actually, I said it before, and I'm gonna say it again in front of you. One of the best, journalists. One of the best people in hip hop. The reason why I say that, I said this before.
Yeah.
His posture as an interviewer.
Yeah.
His passion. How much he fucking cares. And you remind me so much of him.
Well, I learned a lot from him. He took me under his wing years ago, so I got to really watch.
Why do you think he did that?
I don't know. I was working at MTV and I hadn't met him yet, and after 2 weeks of being there, he had told me, he came up to me and gave me the best piece of advice. And him and Dayton Thomas gave me probably the best piece of career advice. But Sway has said to me, listen, we were just arguing about something or debating something about hip hop. And he said, yo, I like you. And he was like, yo, you gonna get a shot to be on camera. I can't tell you how and I can't tell you when, but when that camera goes on you, don't ever change. That same person that you are right here having this conversation with me, with the passion that you're doing it and the conviction that you're doing it, when that camera comes on, you do it the same way. You don't change for the camera, and you're going to be all right. And it happened, But, yeah, I got to give credit to Sway. Was somebody I always looked up to. And Angie Martinez. I always, coming up as a kid in New York City, listening to Hot 97. I know she's at Power now, but listening to Hot 97.
Iconic.
Those Angie Martinez interviews were so important. I was listening. I just was listening in for my favorite artist, but really what it was I was getting an education that I didn't even realize that was going to prepare me for later. So Sway and Angie Martinez were my two inspirations. On the journalism front. You
know what I always love about Angie? I always felt like she brought like a sister perspective. When I listened to her, I was like, yo, this is like somebody that can have a conversation like with somebody so different. Yeah. Even with podcasts, you know how people think of like these are interviews. Like supposedly what we're doing is an interview.
Right.
But to me, it's a conversation.
It's a conversation.
And I feel like Angie may have been the person who started that without even knowing.
Yeah, because it just felt like you was on the stoop. Like, if we was just listening to Hot 97, just being in Brooklyn, being in the stoop, it felt like Angie was right there with us, man. And she's so dope, man. Like,
you ever get a chance to tell her that?
Oh my! Every time, and she tells me to stop every time. Like, I came up, bro. I was such an Angie Martinez fan. The funny thing was, so when I used to work in the mailroom that I was telling you about before I got into the industry, I was rapping back then too. And it was right across the street from Hot 97.
What was your handle? Just always Rob Markman?
No, man. I had a bunch of horrible rap names.
Let me hear.
BK Syfe was probably the most popular one. It was bad.
It was another terrible one. Hey, a lot of people listen.
BK Syfe was like, but a lot of people,
a lot of people had some terrible names before they
downloaded some BK Syfe music for real and came to some of the shows back then. But I used to stand outside in front of Hot 97. The mailroom was across the street, and hand out mixtapes to. I definitely gave Angie a mixtape. I remember one time, I did like a promo for her show, and it was like the day before Valentine's Day, and I gave her a mixtape. I don't think I ever told her this. I gave her a mixtape, a single rose, and some chocolates. And so she went up.
Shot, Rob.
So then I went back to the mailroom to listen, and she was on air. She was interviewing Fat Joe that day, and she was eating the chocolates, and she's offering Fat Joe chocolate. And I'm like, damn, okay, maybe I get a shout out. Or she gonna say, yo, this dude gave me a CD or whatever. Nah, I ain't get the shout out. But, Angie probably don't remember that. I know she don't remember that. But I used to stand in front of that building. I remember giving CDs to Kanye West, to Raekwon.
Actually, I remember you saying that. Talk about when you gave a CD to Kanye, like that whole how that went down.
That was funny. He had a record. This is College Dropout era. I think he was leading up to dropping College Dropout. It wasn't out yet. And I had a friend who got close to him and had a beat CD of his. And it was a beat that he never used. And he said, listen, check this beat out. I think this beat is dope. If you could record something and I think it's dope, I'll give it to Kanye. And Kanye wasn't even really famous back then. Sure. It wasn't. I just thought he was dope. And I just wanted anybody to listen. And I had never worked with a producer before. And I did the joint in 24 hours. I wrote the joint. And it was like this concept joint about your girl and, having a girl that stays with you even when you're doing the worst. And the song was called Cookie, off of Cookie Johnson, because I imagine like, damn, she stuck with Magic. Do that. So it was like a little conceptual, but it was catchy, it was melodic. I thought it was fire. I wrote it, recorded it, went home, put on the Roland VS 1680 digital track recorder, recorded it, mixed it all in my basement. If y'all don't know, the 1680 was the machine that MF Doom used to record Operation Doomsday. You know,
classic.
Yeah. So once I found that out, I said I got to get this machine. So I did. Went home, recorded the joint, wrote it, recorded it, mixed it. Came back the next day, gave it to my man, but I guess he wasn't feeling it, so he didn't want to give it to Kanye. So I was like, cool. So one day I was at work and they was like, Angie was like, oh, you know, my guest today is gonna be Kanye West. So I said, oh, okay.
Yeah, we run
Burned
across
the CD,
street.
went downstairs, went across the street, waited outside till he came out. He was walking out, he was on the phone, and Don C was walking alongside him. Now me, of course I was excited and overzealous, but I'm not disrespectful. So if the man's on the phone having a phone conversation, I'm not gonna interrupt his phone conversation.
Sure. Very few like that, but
yeah, because like, how you gonna get anywhere with that? So I approached Don C instead, who was off to the side. Yo, Don, look, I got a CD for your man. Da da da. Kanye was like, hey, what's that? Stopped this phone conversation. Hey, what's that? And I explained to him, yo, I got this beat. I wrote this song. Da 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 da. And he was like, let me check it out. I'll check it out in the car. If anything, man, I'll hit you up. I never heard back from him until years later when we're working at Double XL, and you know I'm actually working with him. He was a guest editor of an issue, and I actually seen him the other night in Wyoming, but nobody remembers that. But you know these are things that I'll never forget.
Let me ask you something. You speak about all these years ago meeting Kanye, or well, basically trying to give him a CD of work and that you know you have done. You fast forward to Wyoming, where Kanye had you were invited to the Illuminati party.
Yeah.
Or what, listening, we would call it?
Nah, it was an Illuminati party.
Okay. Did he see you? Does he remember you from that?
He doesn't remember me from that.
No?
Nah, yeah, he doesn't. Angie doesn't remember me from that. Like, it was so long ago, and, you know, I think they get approached so much with that it's hard to remember. Like, who's going to remember that? I'm at a point in my career now where I get approached by, you know, kids sometimes wait outside of Genius and, yo, can you listen to this? Let me know what you think.
Sure, of course.
And I try my very hardest to listen and shake hands and take it all in, because you never know who somebody's going to be. But just be genuine, too. Not to say that Angie wasn't or Kanye weren't. They were very. Kanye stopped his phone conversation at the time. He didn't owe me nothing.
You can't get more genuine.
Yeah. But nah, they don't remember that. I'm trying to figure out. I remember one time, LP from Run the Jewels, before everybody knows from Run the Jewels, he used to be in a group called Company Flow,
yeah.
And they had an album release party where it was all instrumentals. There were no words. They just dropped. The second album was all instrumental album. I was in high school and got into the club, and they're playing the album, but they're inviting all of their friends to rhyme. So this is the first time, I think this is the first time I ever seen Cannibal Ox get on stage and they start rapping, and the Indelible MCs, if you was in tune to that, Breezy Boone and Jay Trez, they start rapping and everybody's on stage rapping. I'm saying, man, I want to get on stage and rap too. So I got up on stage. I was in high school. Jay Trez was from my hood, and Trez let me on stage. And I think Breezy Bruin rapped and then just passed me the mic because I was the closest one to him. So I wanted to spit a verse. LP was so hot. Who let this kid on the stage? Who the fuck is this kid? Da 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 da. But they had to let me get the verse off because it look weird. I got it off. And I had told LP that story years later. He was like, man, I'm sorry, man. I was such an asshole. I'm like, dude, I fucking jumped on your stage. Like, I was the asshole.
Sure.
So it's funny to run back, and see the artists that I grew up kind of idolizing and looking to hopefully give me a shot in a different way. I remember, I'm from Flatbush, Brooklyn, so to see Talib Kweli and Mos Def in the Definition video riding in the dollar van up and down Flatbush meant everything. So as a kid, all I wanted to do was get my CD to Talib. Me and him had a conversation about this on Twitter the other day, and I got. He was like, "Damn, did I give it to you, or did I take it from you? Yeah, man. Like Talib took my CD and shit, but nobody remembers that shit. You know what I mean?
When you think about moments like that, right? And you think about how it's funny because it's like you're living. Do you ever feel like you're living two lives?
Nah.
Do you understand what I'm saying?
Yeah. Like a dual.
Because you are a journalist, you're a very good interviewer.
Thank you.
You're very good, even in this day and age where it's like you're a very good creative. And what I mean by that is like it's not just about interviewing, like it's about coming up with more ideas and and making things for like even what you do with Genius where you're at now.
Yeah.
It's like you're creating content.
Yeah, I've always been an artist in that sense. Like, last year we took 21 Savage, we did an interview, and it was a dope interview, but we took him to a blacksmith. And if you notice, 21 Savage has the knife tattooed on his forehead in between his eyes. And we went to a blacksmith to make the replica of that knife that's tattooed on his forehead. We made the real knife. So we're doing an activity plus we're doing an interview. That's the length of this creativity. And I never wanted my interviews. It's never just a question and answer. It's like, man, let's really, what it is? It's storytelling. And it took me to, somebody had told me that was like, yo, your superpower is storytelling. Like, so whether you're interviewing somebody, you're storytelling. If you're creating content, you're storytelling. On my EP, Right to Dream, there's a lot of storytelling. They were like, yo, you're just a dope storyteller. Yeah. You can rap, you can interview, all this is talent, but your main shit is storytelling.
It's good to get in touch with what you do. So many people in the industry over the years, and I can say this very honestly, you're well respected in the industry.
Right.
And then I'm going to ask you this. Why the fuck do you think you're well respected? I'm not saying you think that, but I'm saying, why do you think that you're well respected?
Because I give respect. You got to give respect to get respect. I never wanted to disrespect the game, like hip hop, like the culture. Like, I believe I said before, hip hop I feel like gave me everything. So all I want to do is add on. I never want to take away. And if I take away, if I'm taking something away, if I'm taking something for myself, I got to give something back in this place. I have a respect for the game. There's artists to this day who they might not be as hot as they were 5, 6, 7 years ago, but could still call me and I'll pick up. I might not be able to get you on Genius or do the interview and invest that type of, because that's time, that's a business thing, right? I might not be able to do that for you, but I can always pick up the phone. Like, the same thing with a new up and coming artist who there may be no apparent reason right now for me to spend any time with them. I still try to find time to spend. I treat the game with respect because I really believe hip hop. This is our shit.
Sure.
Regardless of who owns it, regardless of what label you sign to, regardless of what radio station you work for, what podcast network you on, this is hip hop. Sure. And it's our shit. And we got to treat it like it's our shit. You know what I'm saying? The minute we stop giving a fuck about it, then it's just going to go to the corporations and it's all going to turn to shit. This is our shit. And, I'm proud of it, and I'm proud to be a part of it.
I look at it, you're somebody that, has got so much from hip-hop, has given back so much to hip-hop, that hip-hop is just giving back to you now.
Yeah.
For you to be able to make a career out of it.
Yeah. For
you to be able to feed your family off of it. This ain't no, perpetrator shit. This is just real, powerful, somebody who really cares about the shit. And to be honest with you, when you hear stories about somebody like Rob Markman, who had to refinance his house because he believed in it so much, who shelved his dream so his kids could, go to school with some good kicks and clothes and make sure that they were okay.
Right.
That's what. Let me tell you something. Becoming successful, whatever the fuck that means, because being successful, is different to each person.
Right.
As a father, it's you don't always get your shot. Sometimes, like we spoke about it before, you have to put your shot on the you on the side, but you never gave up.
But the great thing now is that my kids get to see. I think through seeing me go through this phase of something that they always knew that I love to do, but seeing it now in the world, their minds is racing because the possibilities are endless for them now. So it's a lesson for them. 2 weeks after my EP dropped last summer, I get a call from Logic. And he's like, yo, I got a show at Barclays Center. You coming? I was like, yeah, absolutely, bro. I got my ticket. Logic is somebody that, I've been fucking with for a long time. But I go to all his shows whenever he's in New York. Where are you going to be there? Yeah, I'm going to be there. Yo, you think it's cool if I bring you out on stage? Like, motherfucker, you think it's cool if you bring me out on stage? Like, God damn it. At the Barclays, like, yo, I'm from Brooklyn.
Sure.
There wasn't a Barclays when I grew up. If you would have told me when I was 15 years old that they was going to take Madison Square Garden and put it on Flatbush Avenue.
Sure.
And I was going to perform there, like, are you crazy? So I'm performing at the Barclays. And my kids are in the crowd and they get to see it. You know what I'm saying? Like, the other a couple weeks ago, DJ Enough,
Big Spanish,
man. Shout out to Enough. Had played my record on Hot 97 midday, 2 in the afternoon. This is not 2 in the morning. And I love those 2 in the morning spins too. Peter Rosenberg, don't stop. But
Juanito,
you know what I'm saying? Hip Hop Mike, don't stop, yeah. Please. DJ Stacks, don't
keep
stop.
Keep it up.
But in the afternoon, I come home from work. I'm at work because I'm still working. I come home from work. My son said, "Yo, I heard your record on Hot 97 today. Heard your record on the radio. Yo, I'm proud of you." My 10-year-old son told me that he was proud of me. So you see what I'm saying? Like, it's shit like that. Like, it's blowing my mind. It's bugging me out. But what I'm telling them is like, yo, you could be whatever you want to be, and that's what Right to Dream really is. Like, the Right to Dream. I spell it WRITE because I started out as a journalist, as a writer. But it's really, you have the right to dream. Everybody has a right to dream, and nobody has the right to get in your way. Like, self-doubt is a killer, but this right to dream shit is really real, and I want to instill that to people. Like, the hat I'm wearing now, the people can't see it, but I'm wearing a hat now. The Right to Dream logo is a thought bubble. And, I see everybody walking around with the paper plane hats, and it's dope, man. Like, I love, Jay's my favorite artist.
Y'all not all signed to Rock Nation, though.
Come sign the Right to Dream Records. Listen, the Right to Dream Entertainment.
Label.
Yeah, it's definitely a label, but what it symbolizes, what this thought bubble on my hat symbolizes, is that no matter what your reality is, you always got something on your mind. That next thing, that $1 million dream, or that dream that just always seemed unattainable. You know what I'm saying? So now we got this merch and we got these hats, but it really means something, like, just to signify that your reality today doesn't tell the whole story. Like, you could do something greater tomorrow. Like, if you really, dream it, and then you got to work for it. You know what I mean?
Sure.
So that's what Right to Dream is about.
Right to Dream, man. Did you ever display to the world what your dream is?
I tried a lot of times. Like, I always tried. Like, I grew up, like, everybody that I grew up with knew I always wanted to rap. So even when I did the journalism thing, they was like, we always knew you was going to be in hip hop. You
hid that for a little. Then you go to a studio where you didn't want nobody to know.
Right. So
tell the internet about that.
Yeah. Once I put the dream on tuck and did the journalist thing, it was weird to see somebody. Nobody's ever stepped out as a journalist and became any type of successful artist. Credit to Angie, credit to Ludacris, credit to Tigger, who did it from the radio and made records. But I think radio was a little different because you were used to hearing their voices every day.
Sure.
Angie had a dope voice on radio. Luda had a dope voice on radio. Tigger, it transitions. Nobody from like XXL, from a print, from a blog perspective, made the transition. So I didn't want people to judge me before they heard the music. So yeah, shout out to Brook Brothers. They used to have a studio in Sunset Park. I think it's called Industrial City now. They changed the zip code and jacked up the rent.
They gentrified it.
Yeah.
They got tofu there.
Yeah, but they had a studio there, and that's the studio I picked to record the project with my man Ryo. I worked with one engineer, and every session that I did for the project, it was just me, Hovain, and Ryo in Brook Brothers studio, because I didn't want anybody to see me recording or the word to get out, and then people have a preconceived notion. I said, at least let them hear the music.
Sure, before they, yeah.
And then if they hear the music, and if you don't like it, so be it, cool. But I just didn't want anybody to be like, man, like he rapping, fuck this, fuck out of here, da 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 da. And I still get haters. Like as much love and respect that
sure
I get.
Sure.
You know, love. What Kiss said, the love overpowers the hate by twos.
Mm-hmm.
Is definitely, it might be by threes.
What's type of hate, bro? What's type of hate?
Nah, I get all types of like, you know, I get people, you know, on Twitter you'll see shit, you know, I had one dude the other day. I get text messages from numbers that I don't know, like just hating, like, you know what I'm saying, and that's cool. That come with it. Like for me, I'm sad because I don't think anybody. I never seen anybody hate on me that was doing better than me. So it's like, I mean, you know, if you hating and you sitting on your couch all day, then I mean, who you mad at, me or yourself? Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, for real. Like,
no, I get it.
Anybody who's actively pursuing their dream, they might hear me and be like, nah, that ain't my cup of tea. But they're not gonna stop what the fuck they doing to send a tweet or to hate on it because you busy trying to get yours.
People just want attention, man.
Yeah.
When you were in the studio, I remember you saying that you almost felt like your cover was blown one time.
Yeah.
What was that about?
I was in the studio one night and my man is Biscuit.
Okay.
I don't know, you know Biz.
The Washed.
Yeah, Washed. Yeah, Uncle Biz. There was another studio down the hall that I ain't know about. It was in this big warehouse, and I'm walking out my studio, and they walking out there. Yo, Rob, what you doing here? Da 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 da. I was like, nah, I'm just here checking my man. Da da da. I was like, oh my god. And you know, Biz got like mad. He might got like 1 million followers on Instagram. Like everybody pay attention to Biz. So I'm like, man, Biz tweet this shit is over, man. But I don't think he ain't realize it because after he was like, that's why you was in the studio.
Yeah.
But you know, Biz show love. He posts the music and he posts the songs and shit like that. But I really thought my cover was blown at that point.
You know, when you decided to come out, you know, you've been a journalist. You've been obviously at XXL, MTV, TV, print, blog. When you came out, I remember exactly. When you came out, there was a lot of love.
Yeah.
But people probably didn't. Were you nervous?
I was nervous as shit. The day before I dropped the album, I ain't want to put it out. I was like, Hovain, nah, it's not good enough. We got to go back. But, you know, that's self-doubt. That's that self-doubt again.
Sure,
self-doubt is a killer. Like, you know, it's scary to reveal yourself to the world. But, yeah, so I was definitely nervous. And, you know, look, I'm going to acknowledge, too, to all, like, I get a lot of love. I got a lot of love off the bat just because I think people, like you said earlier, love and respect me and respected the work that I done.
Because you give respect, you get respect.
And people wanted it to be good. And then it was up to me to make them actually love the music and not love me. You know what I'm saying? I want them to love the songs even more than they love me. Like, that'd be the ultimate compliment. And that's a challenge, and that's what it takes to get there. I remember I was on Ebro in the morning.
I remember.
And I didn't call too many people and set up too many interviews. I set up the Sway interview, and I set up Ebro in the morning, and Hovain set up Breakfast Club. And that was all the things that I set up. And everything else you see me on was people reaching out to me. But I had reached out to Ebro in the morning, to Laura Styles, and I was like, yo, Laura, I want to come up on the show. I'm dropping a project. Here's a private link, blah, 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 blah. All Laura saw on the email was, yo, Laura, can I come up to the show? She was like, yeah. She hit me back right away. Yeah, no doubt. You can always come up. Yeah, let's do it. This is the day, blah, blah, blah. She didn't read the whole email. Because she fucked with Rob Markman. She said, yeah, you could come up. And then when she reread the email, she said, oh, shit. Rosenberg, yo, he's doing music. And I just told him he could come up, but I don't know how the music sounds. What we going to do? So they listened to it. And, you know, they liked it and they had me up. But they said, they admitted that they were nervous because they were like, fuck.
Yo, this shit is terrible. We can't come up here.
Right. You know what, though? I'd have respected it.
Yeah.
I would have respected it.
Has anybody ever been honest with you in this game? That you
I don't know. That I think was being honest? It's hard to tell. Pusha T had given me some advice early on. I had sent him a version of a song that I was working on, and he was like, "You cheating," He was like, this is a 90s flow. It's easy to sound good. You need to challenge yourself more. You know, throwing 90s is kind of easy to hit that pocket. That was great advice. Like I thanked him for it. And you know, he also told me too something about my voice. Like whatever version it was very monotone. He was like, you need more inflection in your voice. Your vocals need to tell a story as well as just the words. So that was cool. Like I sent it to Push, and I wasn't looking for him to say, yo, this is amazing. He gave me some real shit that I was able to go back to the studio
Sure, do some work
and work on. Has anybody been honest with me? I don't know. I ask myself that all the time. Do people just like me and don't want to say the truth, or you know what I'm saying? Sometimes I see some criticism on Twitter from strangers that sometimes they'll just be straight fucking haters, and sometimes there'll be people like, this ain't for me.
Yeah, that's okay.
I respect it, but this ain't for me, and I feel no ways. I'm like, nah, that's cool. Like I get it. So yeah, like it's hard. It's always hard to say if people are being honest with you, because I feel like a lot of people come to me most times want something.
Yeah. So
during the day. So
yeah.
And I'm cool. I don't need to play that game. Like you don't need to like my shit. It's cool. Like it won't make me feel any different about you as a person. You
know, you've been around for a minute now. You've been around for a minute now. I mean, probably going on what, like in journalism, 13, 14 years?
Yeah.
What would you say is one of your most high moments, like your most memorable moments?
As a journalist?
As just over the, in not journalist, just in this game.
I'll give you
two. In this
two.
hip hop.
I'll give you two. Releasing the album, performing at Barclays is probably...
Shouts to Logic.
Yeah, shouts to Logic. Performing at Barclays in front of, what's that, 15,000, 18,000 people was crazy, because I'm on stage and I didn't have an in-ear. So I'm just rapping off. I could hear the drum, so sure. I just know, okay, I got the beat, and I'm looking up and I see the banner of Jay-Z. It says Jay-Z 8 sold out shows, because Jay-Z sold out the 8 shows at the Barclays, and then there was another banner right next to it, Notorious B.I.G. 1972. So being on the stage, and that's all I could focus on. Everything else was a blur, and I just saw Jay and I saw Big. So that was a definite highlight. And then, probably working with Genius, where we are with Genius now, is a highlight. I feel like I hit the reset button. As long as I've been in it, I feel brand new.
What do you mean by that?
Because when I was working at XXL, I came in post Elliott Wilson. Mm-hmm. XXL was already XXL. It was what it was. It was an established brand. I contributed to it in a lot of great ways, I think, but XXL was XXL with or without me. MTV, an established brand when I walked in. I say that's like playing for the Yankees. So when you play for the Yankees, you're supposed to hit home runs. You're supposed to win championships. I think when I went to Genius, I came at a time
transitioning. Maybe?
Yeah, when nobody really expected anything. A lot of times when I went to Genius, a lot of people was like, well, what are they doing over there? Because Genius wasn't known for content at the time. So, I was a piece, and, the first piece, or one of the first pieces of this content team that Genius built. And to be able to see it grow and see this team grow, and together the things that we've built.
Sure, it's great.
It's been amazing. So it's like a highlight, because I'm like, wow. Genius was established already before I got there as a lyric site, not as a content company.
Just building more of,
And I could look back and I could see directly what type of impact I had on a company like that, on an app, on a resource that people use every day.
What made you make the decision to go over there?
When they called me, first of all, it was like, being in hip hop, I love lyrics. I'm a lyrical dude. I love digging into music. When I was at MTV, everything started to become, and there's no disrespect to MTV, this was the industry as a whole. I realized I wasn't doing very much music journalism as much as I was doing entertainment journalism. And it's a difference. A lot of what we were writing about wasn't actually about the music. It was about who was dating who, or who had beef with who, or whose chain got robbed, or who got
trending
shot.
Topics, so to speak.
Yeah. And that wasn't who I was. It wasn't, like if I'm sitting down with Rick Ross, who I respect, I'm a big fan of, and I'm like, damn, I gotta fucking ask him about Lyra Galore, or who was that girl that he was dating at the time? Like,
yeah,
I'm a grown ass man, dog. I don't feel like doing the gossip today, man. I want to talk about the record. And I always found a way to balance it, and it was cool. I think that's why a lot of artists respected me, because I always found a way to balance it. But it was a time when I was just like, all right, I'm kind of over this. I want to do something. And Genius was just hyper focused on the music, and for that I was like a kid in the candy store. And
took you long to make that decision?
They called me once and was like, yo, you want to come over to Genius? How's the MTV? Like, yo, maybe like come over to the team, something like that. I was like, y'all bugging, like for real. Like, I'm gonna leave. It was like, you remember Doggy Style, the beginning?
Yeah.
He was like, man, you got a flat screen TV, all the weed you can smoke, you gonna leave all this? So at first I was like, leave MTV. I'm bugging. And then they called again, and I'm paraphrasing, and well, yo, just come meet, check it out. So when I went to the office space and met Tom and Alon, who are the co-founders, and I saw it. I saw the vision. Like, everything made sense in that moment. The moment I met Tom and Alon, the moment I stepped into the Genius office, I made my mind up. It, like, that second. Like, as soon as I met them, I seen what they was about. I said, I see the future. And we've been rocking ever since, and it's been dope.
And it's been special. I love the breakdowns of lyrics, even the shit they did with Designer.
Yeah, that was fun.
21 Savage. Even you think about just the stuff that you continue to do. Brought over Mikey Fresh.
Yeah.
Listen, shouts to the whole Genius team.
Yeah.
Internets, we're sitting here with my friend. Okay, a good fella, a fellow Brooklynite, an artist, a journalist. I mean, so many fucking things. My guy, Rob Markman's in the building. Don't go nowhere. We'll be right back. Cheers. Internets, and we're back sitting here with my guy, Rob Markman. The one and only. I mean, man of many different creative things, but most importantly, just a good dude. You spoke before about the highest point of your career.
Right.
What was some of your lowest?
Being at XXL was a low point for me. There was a time when being at XXL, really when I was gonna get fired for putting out music on Two Dope Boys, and that was the word.
Shouts to Mecca.
Yeah, man.
Shake.
Shout out Mecca and Shake, man. Funny thing with them too. Funny story. Before they knew who I was, because I rapped under another name, BK Cypher, they were posting my music. They didn't know I worked for XXL. They didn't know I was in the industry or nothing. They were posting my music. And then later I hit up Mecca and told him who I was, but they were already showing me love. It meant so much. But that was a low point for me, and like refinancing the house, and because it made me feel like, damn, if I would have had to leave this hip hop shit to take care of my family, I'd have done it. And it made me feel like maybe this thing wasn't gonna work out. So it was definitely like a low point for me. And XXL was a lot of work. It was a lot of paying dues. But looking back at it now, I wouldn't trade it for anything, because the time, and there were great times at XXL too, don't get me wrong, but there was a period where it was just kind of dark for me. Shout out to Vanessa, man. I had a long talk with Vanessa just a week ago. It made me who I was. Once I got out of that situation, I knew I could make it out of anything. I knew there was nothing in this industry that was going to break me. It was just kind of a low point for me then. But yeah, I thought I was going to have to pack it up. And, I was like, damn, I should have stayed in the mailroom. Should have stayed in food and beverage. You know what I'm saying?
It's crazy too, because I think in the social media day, we show a lot of highlights.
Right.
We don't always show a lot of losses.
Yeah.
And, even having a daughter 18 years old and a son 3 years old, which I'll teach, and you have 2 boys, what I've learned is they don't want to be wrong. They don't want to fail, even more than ever.
Right.
It wasn't me. I didn't do it.
Right.
They don't want to be wrong or fail or make a mistake. And I will say is, to any parent out there, man, make your kid make a mistake, man, only because he'll learn. And I'm not saying do that shit on purpose.
But it's gonna happen naturally.
Yeah.
Those mistakes are gonna happen naturally.
Don't try to guide it too much.
Yeah.
Like, meaning some people I feel like you can't, codependency is something we don't really talk about.
Yeah.
It's very real.
They got to learn to be up, and that's something I have to learn now, especially with my oldest son, who's about to be 13. He my same height, he my same sneaker size. Like, for all intents and purposes, physically, he's a man.
He's taking all your kicks.
Yeah, he definitely he knows which ones to take though, because I let him rock. He can rock the Kyries. He rocked a pair of my Kyries at school. One time I let him live. But yeah, he can have whatever he want as long as he's bringing those good grades.
Sure.
But you gotta let him kind of just be his own.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying, and go off on his own. Because shit, when I was 12 years old, come on, Pete, we grew up in a different era. Like,
yeah, I'm thankful. I'm thankful. My mother said that to me the other day, and I was complaining. I was like, she drives me crazy, my daughter. And she's like, Pete, do you remember what you were doing at that age? And I'm like, shit.
Yeah.
She was like, you were terrible. Yeah. And I was like, all right, Ma, I understand. More importantly, we went over a lot of your journey. Grew up in Flatbush, Brooklyn. Mom and dad?
Yeah. My mom's and my dad's.
What did mom do?
My mom, she was a stay-at-home mom most of the years, but she also was like, she worked as a teacher's aide as well. So, when she was out there working, my mother always loved kids. She was the neighborhood babysitter, so
sure.
all the neighborhood kids would be at our house, or she would work as a teacher's aide at a nearby school. But so she always loved kids, but just held down the house and held down the fam. There was 4 of us, between my brothers and my sisters, and so there was always something to do, somebody to bail out of a jam or something like that. You know what I mean?
What about pops?
My father was and still is. He works in a union as a labor organizer. Damn, I'm gonna get this wrong. For 32 BJ, I think, and
Rep is set.
He's an arbitrator, so he, like, when people have kind of beef with their employer, like, he kind of steps in before they take it to court. The union tries to step in. And
he's like a delegate.
Yeah. And he also worked with he was also a counselor for mentally ill patients. He worked 2 jobs at South Beach in Staten Island. Yeah. So he ran like a drug program or something for some of the patients at South Beach.
Did pops and mom they're still together?
They're still together. There was years when, they were separated for a number of years, and then they eventually got back together. But they, like, when I was a teenager, 13, 14, 15, 16, they separated, and I actually was living with my pops. So that was tough. Most kids, right, go with their mom, and I ended up staying with my pops.
Is there a reason that happened like that?
It just was. My mom left. We all lived together. My mom left, and we just stayed. We stayed home. We stayed.
Sure.
And they eventually worked their shit out, and they're actually back together now. So
at that time, and I speak about this with so many people, did that affect you?
Oh my God, it affected me 1,000%. I was angry at the world because I don't know what happened between them, and I never asked, but I know my mom went and was with another man who I never met. You know what I'm saying? And I had resentment, because as a kid you didn't understand, and you was like, all right, this dude got to be the reason. I don't know what the reason was. I never asked, but I held a lot of resentment against my mom, and it took me a few years to get over that. You know what I'm saying? It took me a few years to realize that whatever their relationship was their relationship, and it wasn't any of my business, and it didn't affect how any of them felt about me. But I was mad at the world. I remember, I tell you a story, and it goes right into hip hop. The night my mom left, my mom was the one who was like, listen, I'm leaving, I'm leaving right now. In the morning, you're not gonna see me. And my little brother cried, you know what I'm saying? And I wanted to cry, but I couldn't because I was like, damn, if like somebody, my mother was crying, my little brother was crying, my father was probably off somewhere crying. I'm like, somebody got to fucking hold it together. You know what I'm saying? So I'm like 13 and I'm just like holding it in, more so for my little brother. And my mom leaves. And, you know, the next day I'm in my room and, you know, I'm pissed. I'm mad, but, you know, I still hadn't cried. And Angie Martinez and why Angie, like, it just always goes back to hip hop. It comes on the radio. Yo, we about to play this new record by Tupac, Dear Mama. And she played Dear Mama. And I was alone in the room. It was the first time I heard Dear Mama. Dog, I lost it. Like, I cried, like, tears. You know what I'm saying? And that's when I talk about, like, hip-hop. You know when I say, like, hip-hop has given me so much? Like, it was Pac that allowed me to have that release. Like, I needed to cry. Like, you know what I'm saying? My mom's was going. I needed to cry. And I held it in. But, man, you and even as a crack, mama, your ways was a black queen. I was like, oh, my God. And, you know, I'm light as hell. Like, everybody who looks at me know. But my mom's is Puerto Rican. Sure. My mom's is black. My mom's is Afro-Latina. So it's like, I connected to those lyrics, so like, and yeah, it was tough, man. I was mad at the world, man, and I definitely went through a transition period at that point where I wasn't doing the right thing. I was out there smoking weed, we was out there robbing people.
Could have got caught up.
Yeah, and you know, then my older brother went to jail. And my best friend, his brother, got murdered. So it was like everything around us at that time where we got guidance from, my older brother, my best friend's older brother, my parents, all that shit was crumbling around us from the ages of like 13 to 16, which is your most impressionable year. So everything fucked up that was in front of us, we ran to it. You know, and we was self-destructive in that way. So yeah, that shit affected me crazy.
You know, one thing I really admire about you is that you've been through that, and then you turn around and you get married. 17 years.
Yeah.
And it's funny, off air, you would tell me, like, yo, the shit's still like the honeymoon. She had texted you, yo, where you at? I miss you.
Yeah.
You could easily have had, weirdly to say, relationship issues because of that. Just because but you held. Did that have any influence you to be a better man? I'm not saying your father did anything wrong, but meaning in a relationship.
And my father, I resented my father too. Like, damn, man, I never talked about this shit, but when my pops and my moms got back together, I was like, dog, you took her back? Like, as much as I wanted my fat. So I was kind of disrespectful to my pops. My pops had his own issues. He had substance abuse issues. I used to take my dad to NA meetings. I never talked about this shit. This shit's crazy. I hope they never hear this. They're gonna be so mad. But, you know, so my dad wasn't perfect either. Like, you know what I'm saying? It was all types of shit. And I'm not perfect. And you know, I've been with my wife for a long time, and we had our ups and downs, for sure. Like, every day isn't a sunshine day. But, you know, I knew in seeing the thing that my parents went through, I knew that's not what I wanted, you know. For myself, you know, that's what wasn't what I wanted in a relationship. So, you know, I tried to do something different. You know what I mean? You know, I still respect and love my parents, but I was like, I did not want their relationship. I never seen my parents kiss. Not one time. I might could count on one hand the amount of times I seen them hug. You know what I'm saying? So, like, they weren't very like affectionate in that way. They did what they had to do. They held us down. They take care of us. My parents are always there whenever I need them, but I had never seen that affection. So, you know, I was just like, man, if I'm in a relationship that's without affection, without the, you know, not to say that there's not love there with my parents, but without that outward display of love, like, I was like, man, I don't want it. Like, if we just gonna be roommates, then
sure.
You know what
are we doing here?
Yeah.
You know, I will say this though, learning and really being obsessed with just trying to be a great parent, being a separated dad for so many years, and just learning, and then also teaching other younger parents. I will say this, kids, and I mean this, kids always will do and remember what they see.
Yeah.
Not only what you say.
Yeah.
More what they see
More what they see.
than what you say.
Yeah.
And it makes me like, what I love about podcasting or just conversating with good people is that even you as a person gave me the idea to think like, to display that better. A
Right.
kiss, a hug, something for them to remember.
Right.
Yeah,
I don't know. You know what I'm saying? Like, and I don't know if it's the right way. It's a different way though, because you're going with the best intentions. My parents absolutely didn't go in with the intentions to fuck me up.
No, of
You know what I'm
course,
saying?
of course. I'm saying,
Like,
but these things
they did
happen.
what's their best for them, but it happens, and so I may be doing what's right now, and I pray I don't fuck my kids up, but there might be something that I'm showing them that I shouldn't be showing them, and maybe they could do better. Like, nobody's perfect. Like, you really just go in and be like, man, I just hope I don't fuck my kids up too much.
Sure.
You know what I'm saying? But and it goes back to me and looking at my parents is like, the realization when you get that your parents are imperfect people. You know what I'm saying? That your parents aren't perfect.
Well, they're also people.
Right.
That's the crazy thing. Sometimes you got to realize that.
Yeah.
They're also, like, you can have a kid, but you also maybe going through trying to figure out new jobs, trying to figure out new ways to provide for the family.
Yeah.
You're also, you know what I mean?
Well, that was the thing between me and my mom's. Like, I definitely had resentment for her for years. And, I love my mom to death. And eventually, once I got to be maybe 17, 18, I realized, I said, oh, shit, this shit ain't about me. And, it changed my attitude towards her. And, and I hurt her, to the way I lashed out at her hurt. You know what I'm saying? And even to this day, like, there's still things that's not repaired. But, I'm like, yo, I was 15, 16 at the time. I ain't understand the world, so all I knew was, and hope you don't go through that. But, if you do, you just deal with it the best you can. Like, that's fucking what life is, bro. Like, you just deal with that shit the best you fucking can.
You ever have something like on your mind like that, like, or like, you ever have, like, in this situation, you ever have, like, where you want to talk to your mom, but you kind of let it go, I'll do it another time.
Yeah, all the time.
Yeah.
I can't. It's hard, man.
Yeah.
It's hard. I don't like people crying around me. Like, or not that my mom is super strong. My mom's one of the strongest people that I know, hands down. But, it'd be hard to have those conversations sometimes. Like, I'm like, man, I don't feel like going there today. I'm having a good day. I'm having a happy day. It's part of the reason why I'm afraid of therapy in a lot of ways.
Ever gone?
I've never gone to therapy. I'm just afraid. Like, I'm in a good space, bro. Like, I'm really happy and living my. I'm like, man, but if I start fucking opening up Pandora's box, like, shit is going good. I don't want to fuck up a good thing.
Oh, shit. Co-pays are going to get to you.
Yeah. If I absolutely needed it, I would, but I feel good and I got a good handle on things. So, I just try to keep the status quo.
You think about your journalist days, and you're still a journalist, but right. I mean, what has been some of your, like, things that make you proud? Like, could it be something in print, album cover? Like, what are some moments that you remember that you did? Let the internet know that.
Genius definitely makes me proud. Like I said earlier, I did a interview with Kendrick Lamar in 2015, right after To Pimp a Butterfly for MTV, which was career defining, and I didn't even think it was that ill of an interview. It was, like, at the time, I remember people being like, yo, how'd the interview go before it came out? Yo, how'd it go? And I was like, I think we just talked. It wasn't, the people made it to this thing. It was just me and Kendrick having a conversation like we've done so many times in the past. And this one just seemed to resonate, but it did feel different. So that was career defining. In 2009, I was the lead on, we did a Making of Illmatic story. And Double XL was in print. This is before the documentary comes out. This is 2009, so it was a 15-year anniversary. Dayswan Thomas was the editor-in-chief of Double XL. And I said, yo, that's my boss at the time. Yo, I think, 15-year anniversary of Illmatic, we should do a making of story and speak to everybody involved. He was like, yo, that's an ill idea. Go. You do it. You're in charge of it. You pick the writers you want to pick. You assign it. You go. And he just let me go. He wasn't breathing down my back, man. We turned that thing in. I won an award. It's called, like, the Best in Writing award. The whole team had won an award. Nice. I never won anything in my life. as far as an award. So writing that, it was I think Cameron was on the cover. It was 2009. It was the making of Illmatic. Super proud of that. I'm trying to think what else. Yeah,
There's a lot of things.
Yeah.
Man. What about is there any been being someone who loves hip hop so much, being somebody who loves just this culture so much, did you ever meet somebody like that you always like looked up to that now you consider a friend that you find amazing?
Yeah, man. So many people. Nori.
He's a crazy motherfucker.
Yeah, Nori. The fact that I'll get the Nori call at 9 o'clock in the morning still baffles me. He'll be jogging and some. Yeah, man. Raekwon. The fact that Ray is a friend and a brother is crazy. Because these were just guys that I looked up to. Even Sway, the fact that Sway,
sure,
it took me under his wing, man, and that's big bro, but he don't look at me like Sway never tried to little bro me.
Sure.
Sway looks at me, Sway talks about me and him in the same sentence, and sometimes I gotta remind him, nah, bro, it's you, and then it's me. It's no,
yeah.
You know what I'm saying? But Sway don't look at the fact that I could call Sway anytime for anything. Is amazing.
Special. That's success too.
Yeah.
People think success is fucking a Rolex. And I always say that success is different to each person. So no one person could tell someone, nah, that's not success. Because what makes you happy, even like you just said, I'm in a good space.
Right.
That's success.
Yeah, I'm good, bro.
And it takes a lot to get there. And it's a balance. But now that's special. That's special that you're able to, I always said that too. Like a lot of kids I grew up with, when they see certain things, they equate that with money.
Right.
And they think that you particularly, if you're around certain people or you're an artist, that now all of a sudden Rob Markman, an artist, that he should have a certain amount of money. No, maybe he has a certain amount of relationships that he's happy with and he's able to make things and create things. You don't know what, you know what I mean? Like that's a special thing.
Yeah, man, the type of calls and people hit
Priceless.
me up to borrow money from me after I dropped Right to Dream last year was crazy. I'm like, I don't know what you think this is. This is an independent company, and dropping the record is not the payday. It's you got to work that motherfucker. But yeah, a lot of people called and asked to borrow money. It was weird.
What the fuck?
It was fucking weird. Like,
stop calling for money.
Like hearing your record on Hot 97. Like,
Yeah,
you don't
that
get
was special.
paid when your record gets played on Hot 97. Like, you know what fraction of a penny that is in your publishing. Like, and people were hitting me up and asking for money and all types of wild shit. It was crazy. And I'm like, first of all, you're looking at the wrong thing, baby.
let me make my bones over here. What are some of the artists out now that you're fucking with? Because you're in the mix, like new artists, yeah.
Kendrick's not new no more, right?
Nah, you can't say that.
Kendrick's
He's become. It's crazy.
I like Nick Grant. I'm a big fan of
Really?
Nick Grant. I think Nick Grant is amazing. I love his new project, Dreaming Out Loud. I fucked with the last one, Return to the Cool. I think Nick Grant's amazing. I like Jay Grams out of Baltimore, young, talented dude. I like Jid. Are we still saying Jid is new J.I.D.J.?
Yeah. I mean,
he's been around for a minute.
He got swooped up.
Yeah,
he's nice.
He's crazy. I'm trying to think of who else. I'm so on the spot now. My guys, I've been working with guys. These are R&B guys. My man Wave Matthews and Craigie F, both from Connecticut. I really, man, I just enjoy their music. Craigie F got this record called Pure that I love. My man KR. KR is in the Superfly movie now, but KR could rap and KR got music. I've always been a big fan of KR.
Being that you're an artist, and now you have the ability to work with other people. Who's some people you want to work with?
I just did a record with Styles P.
What?
Which is crazy. I got a record called Next Check.
What's the name of it?
Next Check.
Let's play that real quick.
Yeah, let's play
a little snippet. Let's play a little snippet.
Let's get into it.
Next check gon' be for $1 million. I don't know how I know, I just feel it. Palm mention, intuition. Multiply this money, we don't understand the vision. Fuck it up, get it back. Fuck it up, get it back. fuck it up. Next check gon' be for $1 million. I don't know how I know, I just feel it.
Yo, look at you, fucking you and Styles P.
That was my first real feature, and Chris Streets. Chris Streets is on that record too. Shout out to Chris Streets, and produced by Knock. But you know, just Styles being a guy that I always looked up to, and man, he turned that verse around in a matter of hours. I didn't wait a full 24 hours for that verse, and he gave me heat, and it meant a lot. That was the first kind of like established artist that.
It's a good dude, man.
Yeah.
Who else you want to work with, man? Who talk to them?
Nah, man, it's cliche at this point. I don't know. You know what I want to work with? I'm gonna say like obviously Jay-Z would be amazing. Obviously Nas would be amazing. Jay? Yeah, I met Jay. I've interviewed Jay a bunch of times. Obviously those would be amazing, right? But that's on everybody's wish list. I want to do a record with Punch from TDE.
Really?
Yeah, a good friend of mine. I think Punch is nice. I love his perspective. We talk about music all the time.
He's nice on both ends.
Yeah.
Dude has the ear.
Yeah.
And he's nice when he lays it down.
Yeah.
It's amazing, to see what they've done with TDE is honestly really, really special.
Nah, it's super special. It's super special. And I watched them grow that whole thing from damn near the beginning, or very, very early on. So, yeah, I would love to work with Punch. I would love to work with Nick Grant. Believe it or not, Designer.
Really?
I like Designer, man.
What the fuck are you just gonna talk about on that track?
I got something from Kiss. I would love. I got a joint. I got a
Kiss
joint.
Kiss would be nice.
I got a song. Actually, I should send it to Kiss tonight with an open verse, and I just hear Kiss on it. It's like some coming of age, like Meth Bleak, Jay-Z, two-world perspective, and I need Kiss's perspective. John Bellion is another artist that I fuck with. I gotta get Logic on something too.
Yeah, you should. But are you reaching out?
No.
Okay, that's
I
your
don't
problem.
like asking for
that's
things,
your problem.
bro. I don't like.
That's your problem.
It's organic. Like
I understand.
but also
I understand. Go ahead.
Also, like the Styles P collaboration, I just heard Styles on it. I was in the studio. I was like, yo, Styles would sound crazy on this. And it worked. Like, it's not getting features for feature's sake. I'm not trying to make a DJ Khaled album.
Of course. But the point I'm making
Shout out to Khaled.
Of course. But the point I'm making is even with somebody like Logic, there's a way of people who reach out. If you're like, yo, I done this track, I think you would be good on it. You're a genuine dude. It's not like you have like an ulterior motive.
Yeah.
I would say like, you know what? I'll be honest with you, people from our generation, sometimes I feel like we don't like to ask.
Yeah.
I'll be honest with you, sometimes like, I've been doing podcasting so many fucking years. And sometimes I feel like I'm like, yo, fuck this. I don't want to ask anyone. It's just like you got to chase people sometimes.
Yeah.
I don't want to do that.
I don't want to do that.
I don't want to do that. But I will say, don't ever be afraid to ask because you come from a genuine place.
Yeah, I'm not afraid either. Like when I say the Logic thing is that I don't have the song yet.
Okay.
That he sounds good. Like if I had a record where it was like, dog, Logic, I hear him on, like I'd send it. Like I'm not. It's not that level of timidness.
I get it.
I don't want to force anything. I don't want to. And then especially because of my relationships, like really when I put out the first record, everybody's question was, I did it with Empire Distribution. It was like, all right, you gonna get any features? And I was like, nah. I just want to do it for me. It's funny. Khaled was on my first project. It was Voicemails. It's a skit where everybody's reacting to hearing, yo, Rob, you rapping? So. Cal is on it, Royce is on it, Nori is on it, DJ Drama is on it.
2 Chainz?
Nah, I didn't get 2 Chainz. Oh man, I did a record called Benz for my birthday, and in my head I heard Chainz on it, but we didn't get Chainz on it. But Chainz had me open up for him on his last tour in Terminal 5 last year. Like 2 Chainz is one of my favorite rappers. Yeah, Pretty Girls Love Trap Music tour. I opened up in New York. Chainz is one of my favorite MCs. I'm not, when you talk about artists like current MCs, I think Chainz is so nasty. Like I think a lot of people might hear the southern drawl or the way he says shit so simple, but it goes over your fucking head. Like I think Chainz is fucking nasty. I think few people are rapping like him. So I fuck with 2 Chainz hard. Pause.
Good pause. As we wind this down, what's next for Rob Markman?
I got new music that I'm dropping. I'm just into dropping singles now. I'm into doing single ideas. So, we got Next Check out right now. I just dropped a new one with my man Craigie F. And the record is called, damn, why did I fuck that up? Why did I blank out? Oh, the record's called Hit My Line. There's a new record called Hit My Line featuring Craigie F. I got another one coming out, Tables a Turn. I'm just going to be dropping records every 2 to 3 weeks.
You're working at Genius. You're a father.
Oh, and go ahead.
Yeah, you work. Yeah.
I can't say what it is though, but
stop.
I'm no, because I'm talking. It's not cementing in, but it's looking really good. But I might fulfill a whole other childhood dream. If you follow me on Twitter, on social media, you know what my passions are.
At Rob Markman, ROBMARKMAN.
Yeah. But I might conquer
on Instagram too, right?
Instagram, everything is at Rob Markman. I'm looking to conquer. I'm in talks right now to conquer some totally different, some childhood fantasy shit, not related to music. What the fuck? Everybody. I'll say this. Everybody know I'm on my superhero shit heavy. Like I'm very big into comics and sci-fi and shit like that. So I might be just going into that world too. So
we'll see.
Right to dream.
So what I was saying before that was you work at Genius. Well, let me say you create at Genius.
Right.
You don't work. You create at Genius. You're an artist. You're a father. You're a husband. Is it overwhelming? Because you are doing a lot of things. And in that, and let's keep in mind, in all of that, you want to be better every day. Right. You want to be a better creator. You want to create better than you did the last time. You want to be a better husband. You want to be a better father. You want to be a better artist.
Nah, man, it all comes from a place of love, though. So it's cool. There's some days when I'll be like, yo, I got to slow the fuck down. And I got to stop because I'm not doing the best. And that's when you got to slow everything down and focus on the moment. The times when I slip is when I'm worried about everything that I got to do. Nah, just worry about, right now I'm here with Premium Pete. And we doing this podcast, and nothing else matters in this moment. So during this, we're gonna have the best conversation we have. You have my attention.
Sure, appreciate it.
You have my energy. When I'm at Genius doing what I gotta do for Genius, I can't worry about the studio session that's coming later.
Sure,
I'll figure that out when I get there. We working on Genius stuff now, so we got to be the best Genius we could be. And when I'm in the studio, it's like just getting the best performance down, the best songwriting, like however many takes it takes, the best mix. So it's being in the moment. And when I'm at home and with my kids, it's being the best father.
Sure.
Being the best husband.
Sure.
So it's being in the moment. So the times when it gets overwhelming is when I lose sight of that. And I'm trying to do everything at once. You can't do everything. I do a lot of shit, but you can't do everything at once. So when you're in the moment, be in that moment.
As an artist, and speaking, like into real life, you became an artist, or always been an artist, but you announced that you're an artist, obviously, over a year ago. Is this something that like is real? Like meaning like, and what I mean by that is like, are you planning on, doing this 5 years from now? Is there a goal that you have in mind that you just want to capture? Like is this something like in 5 years you're gonna be like, yeah, I put that artist shit to the side?
Nah, what it is for me now is it's another outlet of expression. It's another way for me to express my love. I could say things in the music that I can't say in an interview. So this is just who I am. It's who I've always been. I'm just showing the world now. Like I have creative ideas sometimes that I can't get out. And you need an outlet because the shit eats you up. Like, damn, man, I got this idea. You ever had an idea and it just is going crazy and you got to get it out? When I'm interviewing somebody, it's my job to help them tell their story, but it's not about me. It's about them. And I try to help people tell their stories and help the audience get a better understanding of the subject that I'm interviewing. When I'm in the studio, it's about me. And it's about the stories that I want to tell. So there's no expiration date on this. This is who I am. Like, there might be days when I don't have a song. I might go months without putting something out. Who knows? I can't tell you. I might go a year without putting something out. But this is who I am. So if I pop back up the next year and all of a sudden he has an album, it's not that I put it down. It's like this is a way that I'm expressing myself. This is a canvas that I'm using. So there's no expiration date on this. Like, this is a long answer, but I say that to say, when Diddy gets Revolt TV, he doesn't stop being the head of Bad Boy Entertainment. Sure. He doesn't stop doing Ciroc. Jay-Z has Rock Nation. He doesn't stop being a rapper. He's still gonna drop 444. My shit is the same shit.
And I like that you were able to stay with what you writing and you speaking your life, speaking the truth, speaking your creativity, because you're not out here trying to just make some trap music or just say skirt, skirt, skirt. You're doing what you do.
Right.
You know what I mean?
It's a reflect. But like if I was so moved at one day and I walked in and they threw the beat on and it was some trap shit and I just felt so moved to do it, I'm gonna do it because music is free like that. But I think even more what you're getting at, I'm not trying to be somebody else, so I'm not trying to be it's specific shit that I got to get out. Like, I'm just trying to be me. I'm just trying to tell my story. And that's really what it is. It's like, I was sitting with Black Thought today and he was like, yo, I hear everything that everybody is doing. I know what they're doing. I'm okay with being an elder statesman. I know who I am, and I'm just working on being the best me.
Sure.
And that sunk in with me, and I'm like,
God.
Yeah, that's Black Thought, bro.
Sure.
Like that's
lyricism.
That's Super Saiyan level. Like that's another level of, it's rappers and then there's just fucking God MCs. Sure. And Black Thought is in that category. I think Royce, the 5'9", is in that category. Like there's a very few elite, people are scared to rap with that guy. So, if it worked for him, who am I?
Sure.
Why, I ain't got to chase nothing.
Let me tell you something. Your journey is special.
Right.
But
thank
it's
you.
really just beginning.
Your journey is special too, bro.
Oh man, thank you for that.
Like you the way you document the culture, the way you bring people together, the conversation is very pure and genuine. Sitting down with you, I never feel like you have an agenda. It's not about getting somebody a gotcha moment.
Sure. Like
you really get to the heart of the matter and who your subject is. One of the things I'm very grateful for you is the last time I was on your podcast, it was with a bunch of Casanova, Noah, who is now at Def Jam,
Rich Antonella Complex.
Yeah.
No, not Rich Antonella. Yeah, what the fuck am I doing? Noah from Complex.
Noah from
Casanova.
Complex, Casanova.
You
and the late Prodigy.
Yeah, late Prodigy. Yeah.
And we just talked about being fathers and what it meant, and that was the last time that I saw Prodigy. I think that was the last time.
Sure,
he passed away. He passed away.
After.
Yeah, maybe less than a week. I was always thankful because you brought us all together. It wasn't as an artist or fame, or it was men who loved their children, and that was the common theme. And you put us all in the room, and we had a very real conversation. And that's always going to be my last memory of P. And it's a dope memory, and it's a loving memory. You give people the flowers while they can still smell them. And that's so very important. Like, so, we all come and go in life, and we all lose people. And I always know where I stand with you. You know what I'm saying? And I think all your guests, I can hear it in your other interviews. Whenever you sit with, man, you treat people with such respect, and you really give the flowers while they can still smell them. And it's rare because a lot of people do one thing to your face and behind your back is another. So you're a fucking legend in this shit, man. And I know, coming from, loudspeakers, obviously that, that's Reggie, that's Combat Jack, and you carrying on that man's legacy. You know what I'm saying? Like, and you branching off from, even starting with him and then developing your own thing is amazing to see, bro. And I know he's happy and I know he's proud too.
Yeah, man, you're gonna make me fucking sad. But no, I really appreciate it. Let me tell you something. As we end this episode, I just want to say your journey has really just begun. You're well respected for a reason. I say this to you. I say this to you when we speak.
Yeah.
I don't just say this on a podcast. You're a great dude. I think you're somebody that people could look up to. A great father, great husband. And of course, nobody's perfect. But what I mean by that is you're just a well-respected dude because you come from such a place of, passion. And that shit is very rare. So that's why I'm going to say that. So listen, I wish you the best in everything you do.
Thank you, bro.
And internets, listen, check for Rob Markman, at Rob Markman on all social media. Check out his music. Check him out at Genius, putting out great content. Check him out. He'll be touring. I'm sure he's touring. I know you're going to do some stuff with him.
Yeah, I got the call from Royce the 5'9" and DJ Premier to join their Prime 2 tour, which is amazing. But we unfortunately had to postpone the tour.
Right. Premier.
Preem's dad got sick, so prayers up for DJ Premier and his family. Nothing is more important than family. So when we got the call that Preem's dad was sick and we had to postpone, of course, then that's what we doing. And we sending all positive love and energy to DJ Premier because he's given us so much. And we giving it right back to him, man.
I'm sure you'll be on plenty stages to come.
It's cool.
Plenty stages.
It's cool, man. Just the fact that I was thought of, just the fact that I came up in a conversation,
of course,
to possibly open for them is cool. So I'll get my shot and I'll get my day, but none of that is important unless the family is right. So we're gonna get Preem's family right. We're gonna send them all the love, much love to DJ Premier's dad. Prayers up, and we'll take it from there.
Internets, listen, Rob Markman.
Yeah.
The journey has just begun. Continue to write, to dream. And that's not write, R-I-G-H-T. That is write, W-R-I-T-E. Write your own dream. Internet's Rob Markman. Cheer. Internets, if you enjoyed that episode, I want you to email me at thepremiumpeachshow@gmail.com. Again, that's email is thepremiumpeachshow@gmail.com. Let me know what you thought. And listen, all my advertisers out there, all my big businesses, my small businesses, whoever, a friend, a store, you want to advertise on The Premium Pete Show? Email me at thepremiumpeachshow@gmail.com and let's get working. Okay? Make sure you subscribe, rate, leave a comment on all streaming platforms of the podcast. Tell a friend to tell a friend, and we'll see you next episode.